everyone, welcome back to another episode of Strip by Sia, your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people in between. I am your host, Steph Sia, aka Kimchi on Stage. People have been asking me, where can I find you on stage? Guys, I don't even have my schedule for July or August yet, so I don't actually know where I'll be, but you can, if you stalk me in all of the channels online, I'm sure you can find that information fairly quickly on the interwebs. Other than that, I am also an adult content creator. I do an OnlyFans. I'm also a cam model as well, streaming exclusively with Streamate, which you can find me online under the username Sia on Camera. And I was a sugar baby for many years, which is my humble start to the industry, where I was so baby and like so naive about this world. You could listen to that back in season 1 and one of the bonus episodes. But yeah, I am a sex worker, and I started this show 5 years ago to help destigmatize the work, destigmatize the industry, help people, and provide a better understanding of what adult industry people go through, what challenges we have, what things we're celebrating right now, and just to, properly illustrate an accurate portrayal of what our industry is like and the people that are involved into it. So my aim here is to educate and humanize sex workers, because we're human. Some people like to forget that we are. And every week I bring different guests onto the show to speak about their corner of the industry, because if you've been listening here for a while, or if you're kind of new, you will know that there are so many different avenues under the umbrella of sex work. And I bring on, like today, we're going to be talking about porn. I've talked about, different camming models. We've talked about different fetishes. We've talked about people that are behind the scenes and like organizations that help benefit and uplift sex workers. So really all over the place, but again, with the same mission and goal, is to help educate folks that are listening to the show that want to get into sex work, or for those vanilla people out there who have had a very skewed definition of what the work is. So before we introduce our wonderful guest today, which I'm very excited to interview, oh my God, and she has this cute cat here. I'm getting distracted, but your cat's looking really cute. I will be introducing our guest shortly, but I just want to also do a quick little hello and shout out to those who are on Patreon, those who are on the second and third tier. Y'all get a nice little fan recognition shout out just for supporting. I know a lot of you have been supporting since day one. So just want to say hello to Snoo from Germany. We've got Geyser, Selena Money, Eric Arajo, Bia York, McKenna King, Retro Products. A lot of you guys are from the West Coast. Hello, holler. It's like so great that you guys are supporting. Thank you so much. If you don't know what Patreon is, folks, it is a platform that you can help support your fellow creators, your favorite podcasters, whatever person you're trying to support. And in this case, it would be the podcast. Basically, all your proceeds go towards hosting for my website, because there's a cost for that, of course, and also enables me to attend adult industry events. But mainly it's going to be going to the website, because I don't foresee myself going to any events anytime soon. Lately, it's been a busy year, but thank you so much. If you are interested, you can go ahead and subscribe or check out patreon.com/stripbysia if you want more information there, bonus episodes, exclusive video content access, episodes before everything else gets released to the public. A lot of you have maybe already heard about season 7 already. That's been delayed for a month now, but it's okay. We're here now. So feel free to pop in. So again, it's Stripped by Sia, patreon.com/stripbysia. As mentioned, we have an esteemed guest that I'm bringing on to the show today, which I'm very excited to talk about. We're talking all things porn today. We're talking about authenticity within the adult industry, specifically in adult film. So talking with, I have many accolades here that I'm going to have to list out. So we're bringing the wonderful Haley Spades onto the show today. She is an award-winning porn star, guys. And I'm not just talking about here and there. We're talking about major awards. There are a lot. She's swept the AVNs. She was also the Bang Babe of the Year. She's won Night Moves, which is also like a stripper award as well. She won an Xmas award as well. over the past 2 to 3 years. And it's just incredible with her success and just her onward and upward trajectory of her just taking the adult industry by storm. So in addition to that, because yes, porn star is a big fun shiny label, she's also a cosplayer, she's a gamer, and of course an adult content creator, and also a cat owner, which I am seeing as well. Everyone, please welcome Haley Spades to the show today.
Hello. Hi, I'm happy to be here.
Haley, what's the name of your cat?
This is Leia, the one that's on my lap. I have two cats. So this is Leia. My other one, she's over there. She's sleeping on the couch. She's been a little sick, so she's not here to hang out today, but she's sleeping. Aww. This is Leia, though.
Hi, Leia. Oh my gosh, for those who are watching the video, so cute. So adorable. Haley, I don't even know where to start, and you've done so much and accomplished so much in these last few years in your career, especially within the adult film industry. I'd love to flip it back to you in terms of these are facts and stuff that I've found on the internet and the information that I've publicly discovered of you. But I think it's also important for people to give themselves their own introduction, their own definition, and describe themselves in words that they think suit themselves. So I'm going to throw it back to you.
So I've been in porn for 3.5 years. It'll be 4 years almost at the end of this year. Wow.
Wow.
And so I grew up in the South. I got a bachelor's degree in marketing and stripped my way through college and still decided to go and make content and do porn. And it's been really fun because I've been able to kind of go deeper into more like my hobbies, actually, like with my own branding and everything, especially since I have a pretty decent following on the internet after all these years. I actually feel very comfortable and very happy and just grateful that I get to show my true colors, with cosplaying, gaming, nerdy stuff, right? And yeah, it's been really fun being nominated for so many things, winning best VR sex scene and stuff like that. It's been really, really fun. And I'm really happy with how things are going.
Yay. And of course, there's going to be so much more that you're going to share later on in the show and other plans and all that.
Yes, but so much more.
Totally. I mean, let's go back to your humble beginnings. We all had humble beginnings.
Yes.
But you mentioned stripping your way all throughout college, which, fairly common. And I'm still stripping as well. Let's talk about that. So let's talk about maybe audition process or your initial I'm going to walk into the strip club and ask for a job. How did your experience go? Because everyone has a different story.
Yeah, so I was in college. I was a freshman. I was 18, and I kind of really needed money, like a typical college student. But I actually don't think I've gotten this deep into explaining why I needed money. I mean, obviously, I was a broke college student, but so I think I maybe talked about it on a few other podcasts, but I don't think I have recently. So I was 18. I was in Florida at a music festival, and I was riding in a car that got pulled over for drugs. Just weed. It was weed. This is what I'm talking about.
Lame.
Right,
I roll.
Lame. Oh my god, Florida, side eye.
Calm down.
Yeah, so I got arrested, but I was just scared shitless. All right, I'm 18. I got arrested. I have a marijuana possession charge. But the thing is that it wasn't my car. My drug test was clean, right?
Oh my
and
gosh.
So in the midst of all that, I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna pay for all of this, right? So that's why I got started stripping. Thankfully those charges were completely just dropped because they couldn't charge me with anything. Yeah. But when you're 18 and you've been arrested and you think your life's over, right? You're like, oh gosh. And really at the end of the day, that did not do anything to harm me. I have TSA pre-check and global entry, so did not do anything to hurt me at all. But yeah, so that's how I got started stripping. And then I realized how fun it was, right? But I mean, I was terrified. For one, I had just been freshly arrested and I was thinking about my entire life choices there.
Yes.
I was I got into a car that somebody had weed in. Oh my god, I'm done for. stopped.
Life is over.
Yeah,
Life
I
is
was like, my
flashing
life is
before your
over. I
eyes.
was like, Jesus, I just turned 18 and I'm stupid. So I went to the strip club. I was scared shitless. And then I think about a week or two after, my charges were dropped. And then I just kind of stuck with stripping because I liked the money. I liked how much fun it was. I was still super young and still very like kind of Bambi, right? Like shaky, scared, didn't really know what I was doing to its, fullest extent. But um yeah, so that kind of opened up a lot of doors for me because I felt very free, very comfortable in a weird way. Like I had to work my way up, but I started to be like, yeah, like this feels right. I still finished college obviously because I don't know, I'm not a quitter. So when I start something, I want to try and finish it. So yeah, I finished college. But I kind of knew, I think 2 years in, I was like, I'm not going to get a conventional corporate job. That's not happening. And then so from there, then the pandemic started on during my senior year of college. Couldn't work anymore. Still had bills to pay, just like everybody else. Student loans, to which I was like, I had so much going on. And so I did what everybody else was doing. I started making content. I had an OnlyFans. Um, and then from there, I started doing cosplay content. I got a lot of inspiration from a lot of my favorite cosplay content creators like Purple Bitch, Headshot 69, I think that's her name. I forget her name. These are all foreign cosplay performers, but they gave me a lot of inspiration. So that's how I started finding out like I really liked cosplay. And then from there, I was just having a lot of fun making content. And I felt like it was something that I could kind of pursue, right, long term. And then I was like, well, I had already gotten my degree. So I had this business mindset. I was like, if I'm already on the internet, putting all my holes out there, right? Face and all, face out, right? Like I am in it. And there's no going back. I should just go do porn.
Totally.
Right. And that's what I did. I just started like looking up agencies and figuring out like if I wanted to actually do it. I shot some of my first scenes and I knew, I was like, this is the right move. I was very comfortable and excited. And yeah, so that's kind of how I got my start with everything. I kind of trickled my way down a bunch of sex work and under the sex work umbrella, like because I have tried to do the sugar baby thing, but in the South, like, it just wasn't that good. I have a very successful friend for it. She does great, but so like I've done my fair share. I even tried camming. I didn't like it. I don't have a good like patience, I guess. I get very bored. Days. Yeah, I get very bored and very like grumpy. So
I know I have to like cap it off at like an hour and a half sessions, and I'm like, okay, next. I think my longest was like ever like 2 hours, and I'm like, I just like get bored too, start veering off, and I'm like, I need to get off of here. Unless
because then you look bored and you're just not having a good time.
Yeah, and people can tell that stuff too. They're like, okay, they'll just leave your room. So yeah. But back to you. So okay, so stripping, we're done with that chapter. Cool. Yes. We moved on to OnlyFans and content creation. Yes. At that point, I mean, yes, COVID, a lot of us were going on OnlyFans at that time, in and around that time. During that time, did you ever find it hard to navigate, to keep up with everyone else? Because that was like, for me, that's when I found it was starting to get super saturated. Like as a person that had OnlyFans like before then, it was like, wow, like everyone is doing it now. How were you able to navigate during that time and like keep the momentum going? Because it could be so easy to fall off the wagon.
Oh no, yeah, I could tell it was very saturated. That's why I joined porn. I was like, that is why I joined porn. I knew if I wanted to make this a very consistent, comfortable, long-term career, and long-term can mean anything. It can mean 5 years, 10 years. I don't know what that means for me, but I knew it was something I wanted to pursue, and I don't have like an end date in sight, right? So there is no final day. I'm like, yes, that's when I want to quit. No, I want to do this as long as I can, as long as I'm happy, and as long as it's feasible, right? So that was my goal. That was why I joined porn. I wanted to get my name out there. I wanted to do it for real, do it big time, and kind of set myself apart from the oversaturation of content creators. And yeah, and I'm glad I did that. But it's not for everybody, like working on mainstream pro sets is not for everybody. It's a lot of work, and so that's not to say like that's what you have to do if you're a content creator, because no, it was just what I knew I would want to do, because I I don't know. For me, I knew I would have a hard time just like standing out and like differentiating myself in a sense if I didn't do something
Totally.
like big. And also, it's also
Yeah.
like an ego thing, right? Like that's an internal thing. I was like, I need to do something big. So
Challenge accepted. So
yes.
I mean, with your marketing degree, were you able to use any traditional or digital marketing strategies with your OnlyFans, with how you market yourself and how you brand yourself?
I mean,
That you,
I kind of just mentioned a few things that I did. You know, like I kind of
yes.
made a business plan for myself, and I realized how to get the most exposure. I also have been able to create a lot of good brand awareness. Like everybody knows me for what I am. I'm a short, petite girl. I video game, I stream, I'm nerdy, I cosplay, I watch anime. So those are things I very like put out there, and I am like, yes, that's mine. Like I own it. That's my brand. So I think I've gotten very good with that, and also kind of like just how I present myself online. Also like not so much on like the brand aspect, but like my image, right? So
Yeah,
um
that's important.
yeah, and just to like look appealing and not leave a sour taste in people's mouths and stuff like that. You know, like just I think I've definitely learned a lot of things from college that I have applied, but I can't really like say like strategic like strategies I've done for like OnlyFans specifically. It's more so like as a whole, as a bigger picture, because I think that's what matters instead of just like the little details. Because when you have a nice foundation, everything built on top of it doesn't need to be so pinpoint accurate and very
No.
detailed and crazy. So yeah, I just had a really nice foundation I've kind of built for myself.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we'll talk about more of your hobbies and interests too, like with cosplaying and with gaming and all that stuff later on as well. But keeping on the topic of like your career and then moving into adult film, yes, porn. So you were the one that was actively searching out agencies and production companies and stuff too. And I'm just asking this question because I know there's a lot of people that are listening to this and they're like, I want to break out into porn
Just
too.
Google
Just
porn
Google.
agencies. That is what I did.
Literally.
Just people look up how do I join porn? Copy and paste that question into Google. That is how you
Yes.
join porn. I'm straight up. That is how you join porn. Well, that's the first step. That's not how you join it. That's how you get the ball rolling, right?
Yeah,
You have
get
to
the foot in the
find an
door.
agent willing to take a chance on you.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be like kind of nerve wracking, I think, for people too. They're like, okay, we've reached out. What are the next steps, or what are the next steps that people can generally expect? Like potential agent would get back to you. They would potentially like book you in for a shoot, or how does that work? What does that
So
process look like?
I reached out to two agencies. Mainly I reached out to one, Hussy Models, because they were in Florida. They are in Florida still. And I was in Louisiana. So I was like, what if I just go to Florida? I was still kind of like scared to leave Louisiana. I was very scared. I was like, Florida's close. Might be able to still have my life in New Orleans. I'm glad I don't have my life in New Orleans anymore. But, you know, at the time, like pandemic, you're like, I'm making a
Totally.
big life change. Like, is this the right idea? So I reached out to Hussy Models, and then my now prior agency that is defunct, Motley Models is what they were known as.
Mm.
Motley Models actually got back to me like next day, I want to say,
Oh,
right?
wow. Yeah.
Hussy Models got back to me about a week or so later, and I had already decided to go with Motley Models at the time. So yeah, it just kind of takes reaching out and just like kind of hoping somebody wants to take a chance on you, right? I got on a few phone calls, and then I was sent over paperwork, and I was told like, okay, if you want to come out to LA, these are the dates we can book you shoots. I had to pay for my flight, but then I was put up in a model house, and then I think my first test was actually covered by the studio. Maybe maybe just the
Depends.
COVID. Maybe just the COVID test.
Yeah.
This is like during like daily COVID testing in the industry. So I think it
Back
was
in the
the
day.
COVID test that might have been covered. I'm
Gotcha.
trying to remember. But
It's all blur now.
I like it so long ago. So yeah, that was kind of how it worked out. And then I fell in love with the industry, and I was like, yes, I want to stick around,
Wow. So yeah, it's obviously had a positive impact on you, your outlook in life, your life in general as well too. I mean, going back to that very first shoot, do you remember like what kind of emotions, nerves, anxiety you're feeling, or is it just like pure excitement? Let's do this, bitch. Like, how are you
I was
feeling during that
pretty
time?
excited. A little bit nervous. Right, a little bit nervous because I remember how I was on my first stage set as a stripper. I was a little bit, like, shaky, like, nervous, right? Um, I was kind of expecting to kind of feel that way, but I was also very excited. I was, like, kind of excited to, like, prove something to people because I had told all my friends back home, I was like, "Going to LA, going to go do porn." And for some reason, I was like, "I'm gonna show them I'm doing porn." Because like, I feel like sometimes, like, you're like, "Oh, like, I doubt she's actually gonna do it." Right? I was excited. I was so excited that the crew, they told me, they're like, "You can't just, like, be like, 'Woo, I'm gonna suck that dick.' You have to be, like, hesitant because it's like a casting kind of
Right.
scenario." So I was like, okay. I was like, I had to kind of act like I was so stupid, had no idea I was about to shoot porn. Even though, like, we have to know we're about to shoot porn, like, legally.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, of
and I
course.
knew I was going to shoot porn and I was excited, but I had to pretend like I was not. So that kind of, I think for me, that kind of made it very indifferent for me, right? I was super excited, but I was like, okay, I can't be too excited, at least in front of the camera. So that it was kind of like, I don't know. I didn't get to showcase my true excitement, but I was very, very excited.
That's cool though. And like, I mean, touching on the acting bit too, I know that like a lot of porn stars that I've spoken to as well, they're like, we actually love being exposed to the acting side of it because
Mhm.
it's like you could just play so many different hats and like be in so many different roles and stuff too. I know that some people have also found it difficult to incorporate a nice convincing act and putting that act on. Like, what has your experience been, say, from back then when you were first starting to say now?
Well, I love the acting aspect, but it is kind of a catch-22. So I fit into a niche of step daughter, step
Daughter?
sister,
Yes.
young teen, right? But I
Hmm.
fit into that category still to this day, which is grateful, but shit. But I've actually gotten a little bit picky about it because it gets very,
Mm.
very tiring and very, very old doing the
Yeah.
same thing over and over and over again. And it kind of makes it hard for me, this, like, touching on authenticity. It's not authentic to me, right? To
Hmm.
continuously
Hmm.
be in the same role over and over and over again. And I say this a lot. And if I am continuously shooting these same exact things, same exact role, same exact concept, I am wasting my time. I am wasting my talent, right? Because I am a pretty good actress, whatever. I think I'm a pretty good one, right? I can fit very many roles. I'm always complimented on my skills. I can learn lines pretty well. I can improv pretty well also. I love acting. I love cosplaying, right? That's a great example of, like,
Yeah.
I love, like, being able to just kind of be somebody else and kind of put my own twist on it in a way. But if I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again, it's like I'm on autopilot. Like, I kind of almost, like,
Yeah.
disassociate and just kind of, like, mentally check out. I it makes it hard for me to recall certain details of, like, certain scenes because I'm just like, in one ear out the other. I'm just regurgitating the same thing I've done for years at this point. So when I do other things and I'm able to, like, present myself and showcase my skills through other roles, I
Hmm.
tend to do more memorable things and I have a lot more
Yeah.
fun. And you can tell that in my scenes. You can tell a difference.
I love that. I love that you said that too, because like, porn is notorious for this in terms of like, typecasting is one thing. And we have all these categories that, that people like, different flavors that people like, right? And but then sometimes that it can be really restrictive, as like you, as what I'm gathering from this explanation, it can be very restrictive in terms of like what you can do, and very limiting in terms of like, well, I have more potential than that and I want to be able to do more things. So I can imagine, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm sure you might have been met with a lot of those stereotypical roles that you, because of like your youth and you look very young and youthful,
Yeah.
and that's why you're getting put into these boxes. But like, um, have you been able to push back on that or express interest, and how has that been received with production companies? being able to get you more out of the box?
Well, I started doing anal. So
Yes.
that's actually a little cheat code, I think. Because when you do
Oh,
anal, I find that like it doesn't really mesh well, right, with the teeny
right.
stepsister, stepdaughter category because you already got the taboo of like, oh, young teen girl, stepdaughter, whatever, right? It's very kind of like I don't want to say like, oh, I don't know how to describe it, but it's very hard to imagine a teenager just doing anal with their dad. Okay.
Yeah. I
That's
get you.
what
I
I'm
get
getting
you.
at. And, like it just doesn't make sense. It's not realistic.
Yeah,
And it's not like it's too much, right? A
it's
lot
a
of
lot.
people they like that whole fantasy of like, oh, it's their first time, or oh, their parents might catch them, or don't tell
Mm-hmm.
mom, like that kind of thing,
Yeah,
right? They like that kind of fantasy. And you
yeah.
add an anal, it just doesn't. I
It
think it
doesn't
just doesn't
jive.
make
It's like
sense.
not
Yeah,
natural.
yeah, it
Like,
doesn't make sense, right? It's kind of
yeah.
like doing a gangbang as a teenager, right? It kind of doesn't make sense, but I mean, I'm
Totally.
sure some people they do. That's great, but I know from like a marketing, a business standpoint, it just doesn't make sense. So
Right.
that's what I started doing. I started doing more anal. I started wanting to do more hardcore scenes.
There you
Um,
go.
I've also kind of been more vocal about not preferring to be a stepsister or stepdaughter.
Mm.
And that can mean like one of two things. One, we're not doing that category at all. Like when I was shooting in Europe, I expressed that to a few of the directors, and they were like, "Is there any kind of theme that you want to avoid?" And I was like, "Step porn. Can we avoid that?" And they
Yeah.
said, "Yes." Amazing,
Perfect.
right?
Yeah.
And then the other option is usually like, okay, well, the script has you being a stepdaughter or stepsister or whatever, but we can make it different, right? And I'm like, okay.
Oh.
So I just actually had a scene recently
Okay.
that was different. It was my stepdad and then my mom. Okay, yes. So I was still a stepdaughter.
Okay.
Basically, my mom got caught cheating on my stepdad with my
Okay.
boyfriend.
Oh.
So yeah, so what I did was I fucked my stepdad in revenge and made her
There you
watch like a
go.
cuckold. Right? That's different.
Ah.
That's
Yeah,
different. That's
different.
fun. That's different. Like I'm still a stepdaughter, but I'm like able to be like more myself. I'm able to like do something different. I'm able to show different emotions and
Mm-hmm.
tones versus just like, oh step bro, I got stuck again. Can you come get me?
Yeah.
Like that's
Right.
that's what I like. So like one of two things happen usually when I express I don't like doing step porn anymore. One, not doing it, or two, doing it but making it different. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's fun though too because like even that's a twist that I didn't expect, and that's a twist I'm sure your fans and those who are consuming your porn are like, oh wait, what? I didn't even see that coming. Like that is
Yeah,
so
because
like
then I
not
got
what.
angry. I was like, why would you fuck my boyfriend? I was like, I'm gonna fuck him. And she's like, you can't do that. I'm like, why not? He's my stepdad. I can fuck him if I want.
That's so fun.
Like that's my
I love
fun.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's good. It's really good, and also great for your career as well because, like, just like with any other profession, adult or otherwise, you will have to eventually stop doing the things, or at least try doing new things to grow yourself and grow your career. I would love to. You mentioned, yeah, that's one of the scenes that you shot in
yeah,
Europe.
just
I would.
recently, like last week.
Oh my god!
I know,
Congratulations.
and also like it's new. Wait,
Hmm.
I'm talking about the step thing that I did recently, right?
Yeah.
The one that was with my boyfriend, my mom fucking my boyfriend. Yeah, that's like something like I said, like it's something that I can actually remember and I could recall things, and maybe
Yeah.
because it's also fresh, but also like I was excited, I was happy with it.
I can tell. I can tell. Even the tone in your voice just changed right now as well. You're like stoked about this
Yeah, and I
because,
don't usually like step porn, but the way it was tweaked, I was like, this is fun.
like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Well, I get you because, like, it could get rather cumbersome and, like, kind of boring doing the same old thing all the time. And you're just like, okay, this is like really predictable. And if this is really predictable for me, is it also really predictable for my fans? It's just like another thing that we're going to have to see again. So I think it's actually a really brave decision and a smart decision on your behalf that you're able to do that and also take control of your career in that regard. But tell me about branching off into the European market. Like, how were you able to get involved with this opportunity, and like, how has the response been, if you can share, in Europe, or like how, I wonder if it's different in any way.
So I got started with shooting in Europe, mainly because I do anal and I wanted more hardcore scenes. And so Europe is actually, they're very hardcore out there. Like gangbangs, pissing, um, double anal, like stuff like that. Like that's kind of expected. Like if you don't do anal in Europe, it's kind of like you're on like a very, very small timeline and your expiration date is very, very soon. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that sucks, you know, but I was also going through this moment, and here in the States, I had just become a free agent. I was totally in control of my own bookings and my own schedule, and I reached out to a couple friends that I know have shot in Europe, and I asked them for details. And I was like, "Hey, how did you get work?" I did have to get representation in Europe, right? I mean, it's a whole different market
It's
over there, which was
different.
fine. So I was able to get with Brill Babes, they Esther, she was the one who was like, "Yes, I definitely want to cooperate and work with you." She was like, "Let's do it." And I sent her my rates for everything. I sent her all my US rates and what I was willing to do. US rates don't exactly hold up in Europe. It's a whole different
Right.
economy, a whole different playing
I
field.
have heard that.
So that's kind of something I had to make peace with. It wasn't ideal, but I wanted the opportunity, right, to branch into that market and kind of like showcase like how hardcore I can be outside of step porn, because I did a lot
Mm.
of anal, I did a lot of DPs out there. I really did. And I wasn't actually getting that many anal or DP shoots here in the States. I had just finished my showcase. I had just become a free agent. I think I had like 2 anal scenes and 2 or 3 around
Oh,
that. I hadn't had a DP since my showcase. And I was just kind of feeling like I was like, I need to go do anal in Europe. And so that's kinda how I got my start with that. It was kind of like my own drive. Like, I was just like, "I need to go. I need to have
yeah.
stuff put in my ass." And so I I went to Europe and I shot, and everybody loved me because, like, I mean, when you see a tiny girl like me, I'm like 90 to 95 pounds, 4'8". I am very petite. And when you see a girl like me, you're like, "No way. Nah. Nah, that's not gonna work." Oh, no. When I showed how talented and how serious I was in Europe, they loved me. So my scenes are all really, really great. Most of them have come out. I
Yeah.
think there's maybe a couple that haven't. But besides that, like I was well loved out there. They wanted me back. I was supposed to be going back actually next
Yay.
week. But my
Ah.
cat is sick. Being home with her
Oh.
right now is more important.
Yeah.
She has to have an ultrasound on her tummy because she's got chronic tummy ache, basically. I
No.
know, and
I'm
so her
sorry.
appointment's in, like, 2 weeks, so I had to stay, right? And, like,
Yeah.
I know I made the right choice. So I was supposed to be
Yeah,
going
of
back to
course.
Europe, actually, but I am not anymore. Um, but yeah,
Aw.
they wanted me back, and, even when I kind of told them that I was like, "Hey, I actually can't come anymore," they're like, "Can you give us any dates for when you might wanna come back?" And I was like, "Right now, I cannot plan that far ahead. Not right this second." So,
Yeah.
they were really, like, understanding of that, and yeah, but shooting in Europe is not for everybody. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
hardcore. The pay is not as great as it is in the States, and you also have, like, the language barrier, which can be kind of like, I mean, I was virtually, like, alone in Europe for a whole month when I shot, and it was very isolating, I was very homesick, um, and so it's not for everybody, it's very intense, but I had a great time, I was going to do it again, and I would do it again.
I think you will do it again, though. I think you
Yes, just not
will,
right now,
you know,
now's not the
just not
time,
right
just
now.
now. Yes.
The opportunity, I think, will come up again, and especially like if they're
Yes.
super like stoked and just
Mhm.
jazzed about your enthusiasm. I think
Yes.
I think you'll have nothing to worry about with that.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely, absolutely.
I wanted to pick your brain too in terms of like, I don't know if you can talk about this, but talking about like becoming a free agent. Like, how are you able to do that? And also, congratulations, because that's huge, 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 huge.
Yeah. I was kind of already wanting to go down that path, before my prior agency kind of, imploded on itself. I can't go into too much detail, but, I will say that just, like, a lot of bad press and bad stuff came out about my prior agency, and I went my separate way, right? And they thankfully didn't give me a hard time about that, because that can happen. They can try, like, it can be a little bit of a mess, right? A little bit of a headache to deal with. So I kind of took that opportunity to just get out, like just kind of immediately like, block everybody in that agency, just kind of like start booking my own work. And at the time, I didn't know if it was going to be an actual like concrete decision. Like I went independent, and I was like, I might want to get picked up by another agency, but so I had a couple reach out to me, and I was like, I was very like skeeved out about like agencies after that experience. So
Yeah,
I stayed
totally.
as a free agent, and I was getting bookings on my own, and I was like, okay, I got this, and it was very, very scary, right? So
Yeah.
that's how I became a free agent, and as of right now, I'm still a free agent. It can still be a little bit overwhelming, because it is just me, myself, and
Yeah.
I, right? And so you don't really have somebody representing you exactly. So if something goes awry on a set, you're kind of your own spokesperson. You're your own voice, and you kind of it can kind of feel very daunting, right? And it can also feel daunting trying to get into producers' messages and inboxes and get on their radar for bookings. Like I have to bug the hell out of producers. Like
Of course.
I think this week I messaged like 3 or 4 of them, no response, but I'm probably gonna bug them again because that's how you
Of
have to do it.
course. You
Unfortunately,
got to
that's
do
how you
it.
have to do it. I am not an agency because I'm one person, but the agencies typically they get reached out by the producers when they're looking for a certain person, like a certain look, and so they're like, "Hi, is anybody available?" So with me being free agent, I kind of have to be like, "Hi, hi,
Yeah. You got to bug
hi,
everyone.
don't
Follow
forget
up all
about
the
me,
time.
I'm here," and most of them prefer not to deal with an agency. So it's like once you're there in front of them, they're like, okay, well, let's book you. So it's just kind of like getting in front of them, right? And then also being like, you're your own spokesperson. I'm my own, voice, and that can be a little bit scary, like because like I can take bookings and it might be for like a company that I've never worked with before, and then it's
Yeah.
kind of like I have to be very kind of like I have to be very confident, and I have to put my foot down when I have to put it down. And
Yeah.
having an agent kind of makes that easier. But when you're
Yeah.
just by yourself, it can be very scary. So that's how my experience has been. It's been pretty good. As of right now, I am still independent, not looking to be picked up by anybody. I mean, my month of July is completely open now because I'm not going to Europe. I was totally booked in Europe, and now I'm like, damn, I wish I had an agent because I'm like, oh, and I was about to bug all these producers for like, I'm like, I don't have any work booked in July. I'm like, hey,
You're like, hi.
don't forget about me. I'm back. Yeah, so it can be a little bit of it can be a time, right, to have to just deal with all that on your own, but it can be rewarding if you're able to manage your own schedule and calendar, and if you actually have a good rapport built within the industry. Like if nobody knew who I was, there's no way I'd be independent. You can't be. But because I had so much rapport built up, I was able to pretty seamlessly go independent.
Which is awesome, by the way. Like, again, you're so deserving. And also, like, from what I'm gathering from you, and also just like based on this conversation purely, like, just seems like you're super persistent. You've got your eye on the prize, and like very focused and driven. And I'm just like, oh, I think I'll be fine.
Yeah. Of course.
I get that totally. Well, in regards to like talking and like juggling a lot of things, because now that I know that you're doing this all on your own, like amazing, like
thank you,
incredible. Because like obviously like you're doing adult content creation, you also have a YouTube channel, a TikTok. Like
I don't really post on my YouTube though. I don't really post on it, but yeah, I don't really post on my TikTok. TikTok's just made me mad. I don't think it's gonna be along for much more, but I'm making a lot of reels and stuff, and Twitter and Instagram, and and then I also do some Twitch streaming. So
with gaming.
Yeah, I am actually just getting back on that horse because I took the last 3 months off from streaming because I was so busy shooting, so it's a lot. So it can be very hard to manage all of that.
How do you do
I have to run like I would say almost 3 separate calendars. One for like my normal life, right?
Yeah.
My life outside of work, and then like my shoots and content, and then like interviews and PR and streaming, right? I'm like so thankfully I have a PR rep, so that's great. That is very helpful, but I mean if I was doing that I wouldn't be doing it on my own. I would just not do it probably. So it's hard, but it can be doable, and it's not for everybody actually. Like when I mentioned being free agent, a lot of people tell me I wish I could do that, and it's valid because it is not
Yeah, it's
easy. It's
hard.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of like things to juggle and manage,
Time
and you
management,
literally, yeah, that's a huge part of it. You got
and
to
then
stay
like
on top of everything.
yeah. There's nobody calling you. Hi, you have a shoot tomorrow. Don't forget. No, you're the one that has to not forget.
You got to
So
be super responsible.
I had one fuck up. Oh man, I
Oh
had one fuck
no.
up. Thankfully, it wasn't that bad. I had one fuck up, and this taught me. Bitch, what the fuck? You got to be on top of it. My one fuck up.
Can you share?
Yes, I will share it because oh my god, I felt awful. I was only an extra. Okay, thank God.
Okay.
I mean, that's why probably. I'm trying to remember his name. He works with. Hold on, I have a message from him, like on my phone to kind of like go off of.
Yeah.
So it was Halloween weekend last year, right?
Okay.
I'm looking for his name. Because I forget his name.
Roll.
David Lord. So
Okay.
David Lord works with Gamma, and I was booked. Gamma and Ricky Greenwood. He does like a lot of big films, and he's always looking for extras, right? So it's Halloween weekend. I literally forgot to put this in my calendar. Forgot I had agreed to be an extra in a film, right? And I woke up after one of those like Halloween parties here in LA. LA Halloween weekend is crazy,
it's crazy.
Right? It's like a music festival. It's like I don't even know. It's like it's crazy. I love Halloween in LA. It's a great time. But I woke up and I was like, I had like this like moment of like, am I supposed to be somewhere right now?
No.
And I was like, I like looked at my like all my stuff and I was like, it was like 11 at the dot, and I was supposed to show up 11 for my shoot, and I was like, and I just kind of like sat there. I was in bed, like I just woken up, and I was like hungover. I was like, I had just woken up, and I was like, I just kind of sat with it, and I was like, I'm not gonna say anything right now, but I was like, I'm gonna send a message later. I was like, I just can't do it right now. I can't.
Yeah.
I gave myself that compassion, right? I gave myself that compassion. I was like, Haley, that's fine. Realistically, I probably should have said something immediately, but I was like, I'm just an extra. Kind of, like that's not a good mindset to have. Okay. But
right.
In the moment, I was trying to be very kind to myself because I was very mad at myself. So, around that evening, I think it was around 5 p.m. I sent David Lord a message. I said, hi. I was like, I want to apologize. I accepted full responsibility. I was like, this is completely my own fuck up. I was like, I am taking full responsibility. I said, I just slept in too late, didn't know couldn't remember I had a shoot. I woke up hungover, and I was like, I hope I was really excited for the shoot because I was excited to be an extra. It was like in one of those almost like cinematic things, and
Fun.
I was like, I really hope the shoot still went well. And all he messaged me was, haha, you're good. That's why I always book extras. And he said, stay safe this weekend. Don't drink and drive. That was my one pass. That's it.
It could have been so much worse.
Literally. And I was only an extra. I was only an extra. He's very understanding. It was thankfully very fine. But that kind of experience of knowing like, oh fuck, I fucked up, that can set you back so much in the industry, and then you might have to be like, you have to earn back trust and your reputation and stuff. And I got lucky.
Yeah, I got
lucky there. I got lucky.
Yeah, that can have like a huge domino effect. You could burn bridges that way. Like, and then your reputation, as you mentioned, is on the line. You're like, okay, well, we don't want to work with this girl anymore because she's late.
She might not show up.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'm glad it wasn't like super crazy, like in terms of like bad consequences.
Yeah, it was a good lesson to be taught and learned from. So
for sure. I mean, like in terms of taking your career to the next level, like what is on the horizon for Haley?
Well, I want to do a lot more features. I do want to do a lot more features. That's something I actually haven't been able to get like nailed in for as a independent performer. That's kind of like that one of those, like maybe if I had an agent, but there's so much more time in the world. I'm not in a rush. So I'm kind of trying to take more of a producing side of like my own content, right? Like I am hiring like my friends who shoot a lot of my content. I'm producing a lot of high quality content, and I'm able to kind of be more creative and free with that. So that's been a lot of fun, kind of exploring, experimenting with my content. And I want to
Yeah.
keep doing that, obviously, but kind of doing like the producing side is very, very fun. And I'm like, maybe that's something that could happen in the future within the industry. But with the current state
Hmm.
of the industry, I get a little nervous being like, yeah, I would love to direct and produce because like all these bans, these age verification laws, and a Visa
Oh,
Mastercard, like there's
yeah.
so many barriers that are popping up that I'm like kind of like I would like to do that kind of thing in the future. Will it happen? I'm not sure. That time will tell. You have to be kind of aware of like the environment, right? The economic and business environment of what we're facing, and that's another marketing thing that I learned. Like I have to be aware to actually be able to make long-term goals and plans, if I want to meet those goals or if I want to just kind of be like that's not an achievable goal. So that's kind of like what I'm going with right now, more so like my own content. Would like to direct and produce in the future, but also I'm exploring a lot more with the international traveling and shooting
Yeah.
abroad, so that's fun. So right now I'm just kind of like riding the wave, right? I want to
Totally. Right. The
continue riding the
success.
wave, and I hopefully want to like get further and explore different avenues, but not really like counting on it, right?
No, no, totally. And it's hard too. Like I'm curious in terms of what you said about goals in the industry and like short and long term goals, and how that can be difficult to plan out given the landscape we are in, given the barriers around our industry as a whole,
Yeah, all
and
these
also
roadblocks popping up.
so many roadblocks. I mean, for yourself, and this is like your own personal opinion, but like what does long-term success look like to you?
I would say long-term success for me, I think that is actually managing my own brand and being a content creator long term. And that could
Hmm.
mean Twitch, that could mean YouTube, that could mean OnlyFans, that could mean whatever, like social media, right? I think that is something that I'm focused on in long term,
Hmm.
building up that fan base and just keeping that momentum going. And I think that's most important. I think a lot more people should actually consider that,
Yeah,
because at the end of the
totally.
day, we're all we have, right? Um,
Hmm.
and I would say short term, probably the traveling and shooting more, with companies abroad. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, a personal question for you. Like, we've mentioned expiry dates on this on this episode. I mean, yes, there's a certain time, generally speaking, people, just generally speaking, with very physical jobs in sex work, like like ourselves, we started in stripping. Stripping's very physical. Porn is also really, really, really physical as well.
Yeah.
Like, and again, this industry in general is just like not for
It's intense. It's
everybody. It's
intense.
intense. It's very
It's
intense. I mean,
intense.
yeah, like how how long do you think that you'll be in this industry? I know you mentioned as long as you can, but like,
Yeah.
looking at other performers that you look up to and people that you're inspired by, and people are like, 5 years is an eternity in porn, 10 years is it's like veteran status. But like, what are your comments and feelings on that?
Well, I don't see myself going long term in mainstream. Like, I
Hmm.
like because I don't like want to give any disrespect, right, to the milfs. I love the milfs. You guys
No.
are my
Yeah.
moms, right?
Hell yeah.
But I cannot see myself becoming one for some reason. And that's
Hmm.
something that I just don't really like the idea of, but I just don't think it would fit me. So
Yeah.
I would say I don't want to kind of age up so much to that category in mainstream porn. And then like I just want to be more content focused.
Yeah.
And I want to hit everything that I want to do on my bucket list for porn.
Yeah.
I have done gangbangs, I've done anal, I've done airtight, I've done DP, I've done double
Right.
vag. I
Yep.
have not done double anal, and I have not done a blow bang, and I have not done a bukkake.
Yet.
So I need to cross all those off my list before I leave. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Better
And
get
then
on
once those are done, those are
that.
done. Yeah.
Oh
then
my
I might
god.
leave.
then we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
no, I think it's really great that like for me, like you strike me as a person that's super goal oriented and you have like things that you want to accomplish, obviously.
Yeah, and it's
Yes,
not
that's
even
I want to
like
feel that.
awards. It's not even like awards driven either. Like this is just for myself. Like
Yeah.
awards don't mean anything. It's cool being nominated and winning. It's great, but
Mhm.
it's more so like I want really good experiences to be like, damn,
I
I
did
did a
that.
blow bang with 20 dudes. Like what? Like that's what I want to be able to be like. Yeah, I did that. I don't want to be like, oh, I won all
Totally.
these trophies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Well,
mean, to each their own. To each their own. Some people they really value the awards, but I find that there's so much talent, and not all of it can be awarded, unfortunately.
no, totally. And
So
like awards, and I have like thoughts and feelings about awards, but like there's so like some of the categories are so limiting and stuff too,
yeah,
and like some of them can be a little outdated. I have thoughts and feelings. You listen to past episodes about that. But
yeah,
I think it's really important that you're still interested in doing things that's important to you. And honestly, that should be first and foremost as much as
yeah.
you can. And
Absolutely. Oh my god.
yeah,
We're
so
humans. We're
important.
not machines, right? We're
Yes.
humans. We
Yes.
should do what we want to do, and we should we should be at the top priority for ourselves and also for the companies that we shoot for. And it's like if you're not happy doing something, don't do it. That's why it's just I mean, I know it's easier said than done, right? But like if something happens, like on a set and it's like if you realize like I'm actually not okay with this, speak up because you don't want to end up um having such a bad experience and then starting to resent the industry. And it's not to say that like like it's going to happen, but it's like we have a voice. And I don't like when people are scared to use it. We should not be scared to use our
Yeah,
voices. Yeah.
totally. Especially in 2024. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
with certain allegations coming out against certain performers, that being a thing. And also just like, I
Yeah, like
mean,
I don't do things that I don't want to do. Like straight up. There's in Europe there was a director that a lot of my European fans were like, please shoot with them, please shoot with them, please shoot with them. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. It's like uh I won't say the name. I don't want to get like I don't want somebody to like give me a slap on the wrist.
no,
But it was
totally.
this company that basically I was just not comfortable with the way that they produced their content and how they presented it, right? It was just very kind of I love degradation, all right? Degrade me.
Mhm.
I love it. But
Yeah.
in my own comfortability, right? If I'm going to be afraid of what I look like on the internet for the rest of eternity, I do not want that on the internet. Do not put that on the
Right.
internet. And so there's some companies out there that I have been like, I will not shoot for them. And a lot of, the fan base want it, but I will not do that because that's
Good
not
for
authentic
you.
and it's not something I want to subject myself to and it's not worth it. And that's why
Mhm.
I do what I want to do. I don't do anything I do not want to do.
I love that. And like talking about like we said earlier, like doing things that you want to do and you don't want to be able to regret anything in this industry while you're still in the industry. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts about like, when we hear about ex-adult film stars that are like, I regret doing this and I've been doing porn for a year, and then now they come in podcasts and they say like, well, actually I regret all of it. And I'm not saying that those feelings aren't valid. They definitely can be valid. They are valid for that specific person.
Yeah.
But like, how does that make the rest of us feel in the
Yeah,
industry?
I mean, I think, like I said, like you said, it's valid, and I think
Mhm.
though that kind of just like downfall, almost like that complete like just drop from the top to the fucking basement to the underground, right?
Yeah.
That can I feel like that is something that can try to be avoided, right?
Yeah.
Like and like we're in a different time than we were 10 years ago, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um I think being firm with your boundaries, not being afraid to say no, speaking up for yourself, and
Yes.
really, really not doing something you don't want to do, right? I think that is
Yes.
so important. And, and that's kind of like tying back in with like being a free agent. I now don't have an agent that's pressuring me to shoot something so they get their cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's what I
Mm-hmm.
really like about being free agent. I don't have to do anything and I don't have anybody pressuring me. And don't let people pressure you, because it can build up, right? You get into like this, I guess like almost like a flow of just doing things because you're like, I'm pressured, I need to do it. I did it once, I have to keep doing it. And then it can literally stain your experience, I can find, right? And that's not only in porn. Like, this can be with any industry. You can apply this to any industry. It can make you resentful, and it can make you just completely turn against your former coworkers and your former industry because of how bad of a time you had, which is so valid. And it sucks, like, to see that happen, because it does happen. It happens quite a lot. And it's very valid. And I just I think, like, as a current performer, seeing that kind of emotional response later down the line from these really big names, and kind of seeing like what they're saying about their experiences, kind of like, I take that kind of stuff seriously, and I start to like kind of look inside on myself, and I'm like making sure everything's okay with what I'm shooting, and I making sure I'm like respecting my own boundaries, and that's really important, and I think that's very important for all the current performers, content creators, anybody in the adult industry right now. You should be true to yourself and speak up.
Yeah, like it's important for you to check in on yourself, have these check-ins, have these moments to reflect, to make sure that, is this something I'm still enjoying, or is this something that's like, something I'm not enjoying anymore, and now it's making me not want to do this anymore, because like,
and if you don't want to do it anymore, valid, completely valid.
Totally.
But when you kind of, I mean, some people like survival sex work, sometimes you kind of have to do what you have to do, but there are, I believe, certain precautions that can be taken,
Yeah, I agree. And especially when you're going from star status, going down where you have
and
that
just being like, I
already.
hate it.
Yeah, sometimes I find that to be shocking when you hear these statements. I'm like, oh, so-and-so said this. I'm like, oh, really? Like, really interesting. Yeah, but then again, we don't.
It was a whole different time too. Times are changing, and things are getting more, less kind of stigmatized.
Yes,
so
we want to keep on
easier.
That. Yes, we want to keep on that trajectory for sure. But before I let you go, Haley, we've covered so much today, and like, it's really nice to see this other side of you, and I hope you've also enjoyed the conversation today as well. But where can we all find you?
So my Twitter is Haley Spades, and my Instagram is GamerGirlHaley. Those are like my two main social platforms. My Twitch is Haley Spades, but that's it. I mean, OnlyFans is Haley Spades, but like, you can just click on my like little link bundle thing on Instagram and you'll see everything. Those are my links.
Awesome. And for everyone listening, feel free to click all the links. They're all in the show notes below. If you haven't already started clicking and following, do your thing, do your homework. Go follow Haley on all the platforms. And if you want to get in touch with myself, it's Stripped by Sia on X or Twitter. You can contact me on Instagram. That's your jam. It's Stripped by Sia podcast, because my original one was taken down. And then we also have hasn't all of our accounts been taken down?
Oh man, my current Instagram account is the longest running one I've had.
Oh my god, knock on wood.
My floor, yeah. Wait, this is wood.
You're like, where's wood?
I know. I'm like, whoo.
Yeah, it's like a fine little line we like to dance on, not by choice, but that's what Instagram and Zuckerberg likes to do for us sex workers.
I call it getting zucked.
Yeah, 100%
when we get deleted.
But yes, everyone else listening at home, it's new episodes every single Sunday, dropping on at midnight every single Sunday, Pacific Standard Time. And if you want to help the show out, you can do that by rating 5 stars, writing a nice little review on Apple and Spotify. Those really help with visibility and really getting the show out to other ears that need to hear it most, because all this stuff is free for y'all. And if you want to help financially, it's patreon.com/strippedbysia. And lastly, if you want to be in the show, I'm still accepting some applications for the rest of season 7, so you can check it out on strippedbysia.com. Click contact, and then you could go ahead and pitch yourself, subject, and bullet point me, and we'll go from there. But that being said, Haley, it was so much fun having you on the show. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Of course. It was
Thank you so much. And best of luck with your cat, by the way.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. You're listening to Stripped by Sia, hosted, produced, and edited by Steph Sia. Music by Ted D. Graphic design by Maria Bellandarama, and photography by Ian Dabrin.